So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Webinar Wednesday from Sight and Sound Technology for this, the 6th of July. My name is Stuart Lawler. I'm delighted to be back with you once again for another month. And what a month it's been. We've had Sight Village last week in Birmingham, and we're right into our home user program where there are a huge range of price cuts on a huge range of technology from Vispero. And speaking of Vispero, we have Jan Bloem, International Sales Manager, and Mohammed Locher, who is a developer on the JAWS screen reader with us today. And we will be handing over to Jan and Mohammed very shortly. Yeah. So guys, you're very welcome. So we are, just before we do that, quick recap. Of course, people probably know it by now, but if you want to get in touch with us today, and we would love you to, you can raise your hand on Zoom by pressing Alt and Y if you'd like to chat to us, or you can activate the raise hand button, which is usually within the more options if you're using Zoom on a mobile device. If you would like to chat to us today, you can press Alt and H, or you can activate the chat button, which is also located inside the more options area of the Zoom app on mobile. And if you are chatting, if you can make sure to send your message to all panelists and attendees, it means that everybody gets to see the messages, and there's often some good knowledge, I suppose, shared within the chat. We're absolutely delighted to see everyone here today, and we know it's going to be a great session. Before I hand over to Jan and Mohammed, just want to mention that Webinar Wednesday is taking a break in August, so we won't have a session in August. We'll be back, though, on the 7th of September for Webinar Wednesday. So we're taking a break in August, and we'll be back on the 7th of September. Now, again, just to remind people, the keystrokes, raise hand, Alt and Y, and to enter or to type in chat is Alt and H. Just before we hand over to Jan and Mohammed, I just want to mention the home user program, which is running right now, started off last Tuesday, the 28th of June, and runs right up to the end of July. And it's a great time for you to get your hands on some software and hardware at hugely reduced prices. So for example, you can get JAWS Home, a license of JAWS Home for £115 or 138 euros, or you can get an SMA if you have a current version of JAWS for £95 or 114 euros. There's lots more pricing that we can go through with people if they want. So if you need to know that during the session, please ask. And that's all available too on our website at sightandsound.co.uk. So Jan, thank you so much for coming along. I'm going to hand over to you and Mohammed, and we're dying to hear what you guys have been hatching away at Vispero and what you're going to share with us.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Stuart, and also all the participants. Many thanks for having us again on this Sight and Sound webinar event. It's always a pleasure to be here. And I want to introduce also my colleague, Mohammed Locher from the Netherlands, also from Vispero as a developer. Mohammed, or Mo, can you also introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much, Jan. I'm Mohammed Locher. I'm a developer with Vispero. I work from the Netherlands indeed, so Jan and I are colleagues. I've been on this webinar with this crowd before, talking about the sound mixer, if any of you remember that. And now I'm back to talk about the notification manager and all other things Vispero that have been going on.
Yeah,
so, yeah, great to be.
Yeah, we are not. Yeah, normally, you know, you are all expecting Eric Demery, our big boss. We always, well, you know, he is, I think, one of the few sighted people who can use JAWS also as a real, blind person. I must say, that's really the power of Eric. But as you all know, we have this week a very special week in the US with all the conventions of AFB and NFB. And therefore, it was impossible for him and also Matt Ader to join you with this webinar. But so we are doing our best, and then we hope that we can give you also all the best information for the things we like to share with you. To come back, we are almost at the end of the cycle 2022. And you see that also in the past it was really upcoming that it was one big release coming in the end of October, and then you had to wait for all new features since also next year again. And now it is a little bit changing. We are using actually the whole year to introduce new features, etc. And therefore also have we when you go through the list of news in what's new in 2022, and I will go through that a little bit, or I can share then also a little bit already my screen. And Stuart, can you confirm that you hear JAWS?
We don't at the moment, Jan.
Yeah.
We're not hearing your screen reader.
Oh.
I don't know if you maybe need to unshare and share again and tick
okay.
maybe the audio box wasn't ticked.
It's now working?
No, we're not hearing it.
Okay. Oh, let me see.
Stop share left.
Now it's sharing, I
yeah,
think.
we have it now.
Yeah,
Perfect.
good.
JAWS 2022 help.
I was already getting nervous. Come on, this won't be happening. The tryout was already working. Then I had eloquence, and now I switched to Tom, a little bit better speech. So when I'm in the what's new of JAWS 2022.
Not in a table.
And when I press
Alt H.
No, then
Changes to sentence navigation
then
keystroke. What's new? What's new in automatic settings import from
the
previous releases heading level 2?
Settings import feature, that was a welcoming feature, especially also for Zoomtext and Fusion, that you can really import all the settings from a previous one.
New option to restore factory
and then
settings.
The new option to switch to factory settings, there was already a big one also if you experience issues and you are in discussion with technical support, or you want to try, hey, is it something to do with my own fiddling around of trying out new features. That's a very useful feature.
Sound splitter heading.
And here
level.
we have the feature of Mohammed. I can really say, Mohammed, you are one of the key players in this feature. Perhaps you can explain a little bit again for this feature to our listeners.
Yes, of course. So we released this with the big release of 2022. This was end of October, and the sound splitter will actually allow you to have JAWS coming out of one part of your speaker set and your computer set out of the other part. This is particularly useful when you're trying to listen to a webinar, for example, like right now, and also trying to read something, but you can't use Braille. And so what you'll do is you'll press insert plus space, followed by V for volume, followed by B for balance. And then you can press either left arrow or right arrow. And if you do so, JAWS will come out of the left side of your headset, and the rest of your computer sound will come out of the right side. And the other way around, of course, if you press right arrow, JAWS will go to the right side of your headset, and your computer sound will come out of the left side. If you want to restore, you can press insert space, followed by V, followed by B again, and you can press up arrow, and your sound will be restored. This is very, very useful for people who can distinguish between sounds coming from different places much more easily than if it just babbles through one another from every place at once. And so we introduced this in October, I think. And you may have already played with this one.
I hope so. And if you experience issues or questions, whatever, you can always contact Sight and Sound in this case for technical support, or you can post a question on the various mailing lists. But that is very helpful. I use it also a lot in a way, when you do recordings for podcasts or other things, it is really a real benefit in that way. Okay, then I move to the next one.
New layered keystrokes for selecting a sound card for speech output heading level 2.
And this is one I use also quite a lot, I must say. I don't know about you, Stuart or Mo, but that is the layer keystroke to select the sound card. And when you're in a situation that you do presentations, and I must say we are running around or flying around and running around again over the globe to do presentations, and then you connect your laptop with a projector. And then you can have the situation that JAWS is not at the speakers of the presenter, or that when you connect, for example, also a USB headset and whatever, and that you want to have JAWS over the external speakers or over your headset. And then it can when you connect, then it can be silent at a sudden. And then you can perform nice keystrokes, that is insert spacebar,
Alt space,
and then you do the V of volume.
Alt V, volume,
Oh, and then
Alt S, system.
No, so it's C.
C, yes. And when I perform it, it's correct. Then you said already, then you did it for sound card. No, it is the Z as from Charlie for sound card. And then you can use your up and down arrow keys to cycle through the available sound cards on your system. And then once in in the end, because you are running JAWS and it's installed correctly, so you will hear when you, after a press of the up and down arrow keys, you hear that
From Svetlana Vasilieva to everyone :
that the sound is then coming through. And that is really a nice feature. And it is a feature what you can do on your own. In the past, you always had to ask, or when you were always lucky when you have a Braille display connected to your system, because then you could rely upon only Braille. But when you're speech only, you're lost and about, and then you was really operating your system blind. And you do it in a way as well, but it is more in a controlled situation. I was very lucky with this feature.
Yeah, and we just have a message in chat from Svetlana, who's always coming to our sessions, and she's brilliant. And she says it's
Svetlana,
a great,
from Elita.
from Elita, yeah. And she says it's a great feature. She said that before that she used to have to use 2 sets of headphones. So she says thank you for developing it. So there you go.
Well, you're welcome, Svetlana.
You're welcome, Svetlana.
We pass. I don't know. You are also part of this technical team, Mo, or different?
So this was in code. Believe it or not, this sound card thing was a fairly small thing. So I did this one on my own. The sound mixer was a team effort. With another developer, but this one I built as well for the 2022 release. Yes.
Well,
all the thanks then. Yeah, exactly, Mo. All the thanks is for you then. From Svetlana.
No, she thanked us for the sound mixer, I think.
Oh,
no, that's also for the other developer. I'll send him an email.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah, it's always nice. Yeah. So I will move on to the next one.
Notification history.
And this is really also something what I want to introduce now. In the beginning, it's the topic is notification history. And the notification history is something what is more and more getting more interest in when we were using Windows 10, and also Windows 11, of course. I still did not move with my Windows PC to Windows 11 from work, so we are a little bit more restricted in that way. But I'm running it in a VM, and there it runs smoothly. And I learned, Mo, you just bought yourself a new gaming computer, eh?
I actually did, but I also moved to Windows 11 on my main work.
Oh, you also went there.
Just to test it out, because of course some of us need to use it in order to know what's going, how it works, and if it works well.
From a blind user point of view, there are not many differences. It's more a visual layout, but there are some technical things, but we don't dive into that one. I've had here on the Sight and Sound webinar events, I think, Stuart, you had also already some events about Windows 11.
Yeah, we did. And we've actually, that's a good point, Jan. So we've had a podcast on it, and our last webinar Wednesday, actually in June, was about Windows 11. So people can find that on our YouTube channel if you want.
Wonderful. That is a good reference to find all the information. But don't get afraid. All the versions of JAWS and Fusion and Zoomtext, they are running smoothly now on Windows 11. But with the notification area, or when you are working on these operating systems, you hear sometimes in the past, the screen reader was always in control of getting all the information of the from the operating system. But since UIA and also had that the developers of the operating system and also different apps are also more concerned with accessibility, they also push information to a screen reader or through the to the system and let it be shown on the screen. So a screen reader or a magnifier can pick it up, but you can also get all other alerts in a way. So in the past you could get these messages, but now they are all being sent to all different places in Windows. But for us it was really a need. Also, we heard it from users. How can I get to know for an easy way what is going on? Because sometimes you get a Skype message, for example, or a Skype call, and who was calling me? Or you heard something, and then you don't know what went on, what was going on. And therefore we introduced the to hear the last notification message was insert spacebar with the N of notification, and then you could hear the last notification. Was already very useful, but when there is the last one, there was always one before, when you have left your computer for a while, for example. And therefore we were we defined this feature that we created a list where all the notifications are being sent to. And when you are now pressing this keystroke, insert spacebar N, you end up in a list with all the notification messages. And when you do that for the first time, at least when I did it, I was surprised. My God, what a lot of messages, some things are system messages, but also a lot of messages from applications, from Outlook, from Edge, for example, from other browsers, and all from antiviruses, or that you are connecting with a new driver or with a new device, and it is connected successfully, or this not connected. Even I was using Word, and then it was recognizing a language, and then I did not have this language pack installed, and it was sent to this notification list. Very useful, so you can a little bit get an idea what is going on. But then you get also a little bit more in trouble, because when you see a lot of information, you want to be able to control it. And therefore, the colleagues of the development, and we are lucky we have one in this webinar, I defined a nice dialog box around it, and that you could set up rules. And that is also very useful. So you can either mute the message, or you can change the message, or you can play a sound, and then you can keep the message in this notification list, or that you can also choose to leave it out the notification list. And that is also can be helpful if you have so many messages, and your list is a little bit polluted with all those extra messages. So you can eliminate it, and then it can be more easy to go back to the list and check the messages what are there. Mo, do you have any specific background information or more technical information before we dive into a brief presentation or a demonstration?
Well, technical, not so much, but it is a very useful feature if you want to have control over what JAWS says, or whether JAWS, for example, plays a sound instead of saying anything. And yeah, that turned out to be very, very useful. At least for me, I use it quite a bit. So this is a very useful.
And you can control it also to the information sent to the Braille display as well.
Correct.
So
correct,
that's also
yes. So your rules will pertain to both speech and Braille. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I will now start up this. Or Stuart, do you have any additional personal information or extra?
No, nothing at the moment.
Okay.
Just want to remind people before you start your demo, Jan, again about the chat and raised hand. So Alt and Y if you want to raise your hand, and Alt and H, because I know that the guys would love some questions, and now is a great chance to talk to the people who are at the center of JAWS.
Graham
So,
page to everyone : can
please-
you activate a notification from
please
the
send in the
message
chat.
if, for example, you get a message from autoplay asking what to do with the newly plugged in disk?
Okay, there's a great
Yep.
question from Graham. I don't know if you want to take that one, Jan, or as you go through your demo, maybe. It's a good,
Yeah.
good
Well,
question.
in effect, yeah, all messages what are being because the notification area or list is or the history is instantly. So all messages are there. So if you receive when you have it open and there is a new message, it will pop automatically, and you can then go there with the up and down arrow keys. Or when you press home, then you are in the
So
latest
one thing though,
I think though Graham's message, or
yeah.
sorry, I think Graham's question is, can you activate that notification? So if it says to you, do you want to
no.
open this drive?
yes. So the answer to that one is no.
No.
You cannot,
Okay.
and the reason why we did not do that at the moment is because there is actually a Windows 11 feature that allows you to deal, or Windows 10 as well, that allows you to deal with notifications that can be acted upon. And we mainly deal with telling JAWS how to react to notifications and being able to review them, but we don't want to take over
The
Windows
operating
11
system.
functionality.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also, there are some technical challenges to actually do that. I'm not actually sure that it's even possible to do
Okay.
it as an outside.
And the
client.
keystroke is Windows A, isn't it, for that?
So for Windows 10, yes, that's correct. For Windows 10, the keystroke is Windows A. For Windows 11, it's Windows N for notifications. And from there, all notifications that can actually be acted upon will end up there. And so you can act on them from there.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Jan, just before you start the demo, and it is something we all want to hear, I do have a raised hand from Nikki Dixon, who's a regular attendee. So I just want to bring Nikki in to ask her question.
All
It's
right.
okay.
Great.
And then
Yep.
we will we'll continue. So Nikki, you should be able to unmute yourself. I think we have you. Hi, Nikki, we have you.
Hi,
We
can you hear
you.
me? Yeah.
We can.
Yeah. Hello, Nikki.
Hi, thank you. I've got a quick question for the Zoom and the where you can do the volume and everything on Zoom, because what I find is that I'm often on Zoom with a lot of sighted people who find JAWS quite disturbing because they're not used to it. And yes, I know you can turn the speech off, and I know how to do that. But what I'd really like would be to be able to have JAWS, if JAWS, if it comes through, say, a headphones, and you've got your meeting on your speakers or something like that, does that then mean that the participants can't hear it?
Yeah, but you can also separately modify the volume. You can have, for example, the Zoom volume at 100%, and then you can set the JAWS volume, for example, to 30% or 40%.
Yeah, but even so, I don't want the other participants in the meeting to be able to hear me. I mean, yes, I can go on mute, but sometimes I'm unmuted because I'm part of the discussion. And I just wondered, is there any way of you being able to sort of put JAWS, I don't know, where I could say plug some headphones in and just have JAWS for me and not JAWS for everybody else?
Yes, there is. So that's actually what Jan showed us a while back.
Yeah.
You will press insert space followed by V followed by C.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you can actually switch sound cards on the fly.
Oh, right.
JAWS will come out of your headphones, and your Zoom meeting will come out.
So what if you speak? Right. I was just checking it would work that way.
It will. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. That was my question.
And it works also with Teams, for example. That is independent of any virtual conferencing software you are using.
Oh, brilliant. Right. Yes, thank you. No, that's actually really, really helpful, because that's something that I find or that I have found in the past, because sighted people just don't understand JAWS, and it goes blah, 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 and they think,
No, that's true. And it's really a nice insert spacebar and then the volume and then the C of Charlie or card, and then use your up and down arrow keys, and you will find out on the fly what you've
got. That's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. I think that's going to be very useful
All right,
Okay.
Nikki.
Yeah,
Nikki,
thank you.
thanks for your question. Brilliant. Okay, so Jan, we're ready to go into this demo of the Notification Center, and anybody else who has questions, please raise your hand and we'll get back to the queue in a little while.
Yeah, perfect. Okay.
From Svetlana Vasilieva to everyone.
Svetlana is coming. Sorry, I pressed control. I don't know what the meeting question was.
No, this was someone saying that actually he enjoys the
It's-
feature because he heard it on a Festcast.
Yeah, it's actually Svetlana. She heard
Yes.
when she heard Glenn Gordon
Alt
talk about
Windows
it
S.
on FSCast,
Search
and
page.
she's been
Type
using
in
Reels for notifications, and she said it
Meeting
really does
controls.
improve the way in which you
JAWS
use a
profession.
computer.
Post attendee visually impaired product.
Okay, so then I will move into this brief presentation. The keystroke is Alt spacebar and then the letter N of notification. I will do that.
Spacebar, sorry.
Yeah, insert spacebar.
Space.
Sorry, and then the letter N.
Notification history. Recent notifications list box. You have started screen share Zoom 1508. 1 of 130.
So I got already 138 messages. I think the buffer, according to Glenn Gordon, was 250, Mohammed. Is that correct?
No, it's a double. It's 500.
Oh, 500. It's a double. And you're not able to delete it from here in that way. No. So also when you make changes, for example, what we later on will see with rules, and that you don't want to end up or let the messages come to the list of notifications in the history list, it won't. Well, from the moment you have activated or created a rule, it won't go to that history anymore. But the history will clean up. After first in, first go. No, last in, first out. How do you say that?
Other way around, yes.
Yeah.
First in,
first in,
First in, last out.
first in, last
first in, last
First
out.
in, last out. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it will, but it's done automatically, so you're not having any control in that way.
Also, there are never notifications older than 24 hours. So
that is also a nice thing. Yeah. So when you are there, then they are also eliminated automatically. Yes. Okay, so I'm here, and you hear that the last message was
press. You have started screen share.
That I was started screen sharing, and I can go through it a little bit more. Then I will press enter or arrow down.
Press Alt to show or hide meeting controls. Zoom 1508.
A Zoom that is also a Zoom message.
Audio now unmuted. Zoom 1504. 3 of 130.
Again, a Zoom.
Audio now muted. Zoom 1504. Audio now unmuted. Zoom audio now muted. Zoom 1502. Audio now unmuted. Zoom 1502. This meeting is being recorded. Zoom 15. This webinar is being recorded. The host started this webinar. Audio now muted. Unmute my audio. You are in a practice session. You have stopped screen share. Participants can. You are in a practice. You have started screen.
A lot of Zoom meetings, Zoom events, and I want to go arrow down also to something, or I can also to the Edge ones, and that's what I want to do a demonstration with.
Mohammed Lachit, you are in loading page. You are in a practice. Loading complete Edge 1439. 23 of 130.
So this is, I think, when people are using Edge themselves, you are familiar with this message. That Edge or that JAWS is telling you loading page.
Loading page Edge 1439.
Loading page.
Loading complete Edge 1434. 20. Opening new tab Edge 1434.
Opening new tab.
26 of 130. Loading page Edge 1434. Loading complete Edge 1434. Downloading webinar-830. Downloading.
Now, and so on. There are so many messages. Well, you can set up a rule, for example, when you don't want to have a message when you are in Edge.
Download. Loading complete Edge 14. Loading page Edge. Opening. Loading page Edge 1434.
And that is
27 of 130.
Because now, so these messages, and you can set up a rule, and therefore you press the tab key to go into the dialog box of the notification history. I press tab.
Enable rules checkbox checked.
Well, this is the main checkbox, of course, and this is checked. So I want to do rules. So I press the tab key again.
Create rule ... button.
So this is the one to create a rule.
Close button.
And since I did not create any rules yet, I'm automatically in the close button, and I press tab again.
Recent notifications list box.
And here I'm back in the recent notification in the recent list.
Enable rules checkbox checked.
So I will go back
Recent
to Shift tab, and I select the notification or the notification that I want to create a rule for.
Loading page edge 14. Opening new tab edge. Loading page edge 14.
And I want to make for loading a rule. So I go to the button Create Rule.
Enable rule. Create rule ... button.
And I press the space bar.
Space. Create rule. Received notification contains colon. Contains colon edit. Contains text.
Contains text, and I press Insert 5.
Loading.
Or Insert 8. I can do say line.
Loading page.
Loading page. And I press tab again, and then you find out what kind of actions you can put to this message.
Limit to notifications from Edge checkbox checked.
Well, this is that you want to limit it within the program Edge, and that is what I want to check. So I don't want to make it global.
Speech or sound action. Speech action combo box. Mute.
And here you have the action that is, or here you have a combo box with the several actions, and it is automatically placed on mute. I press the up and down arrow keys, or arrow down.
Shorten.
That you can shorten it, so you can make it a different text.
Play sound.
Or you can play a sound.
Speak the full message.
Or you can keep on speaking the full message. So I will press arrow up again.
Play sound. Shorten. Mute.
To say mute.
Braille action. Braille action combo box. Show flash message.
And here are the messages for the Braille display. Now it is a flash message, but if I want to also eliminate this one, I press arrow down.
Show shortened flash message.
So you can shorten it.
Show flash, show nothing.
And you can also, when you press arrow up, it shows nothing. I do that for this time. I press now the tab key.
Don't show in history checkbox not checked.
And this is a nice one if you want to clean up your notification history list. I press the checkbox or press the space bar to check the checkbox.
Space. Checked.
And I press the tab key.
OK button.
And there I have the OK button, and I can press the space bar.
Space. Notification history. Create rule ... button.
And I'm back in the at the same place where I left. And I can go back to the list, but I can now also go to the close button and show you that the loading page is not there.
Manage close button. Recent close button. Space. Visually.
And now I will do Insert T.
Title is Visually Impaired Products - Sight and Sound Technology - Microsoft Edge.
So this is the website of Sight and Sound. And I want to open, for example, the new page with for Vispero.
Control N. Opening new window. Address and search bar edit.
This is opening new window. That is still there because I did not create a rule for that one. I will start now the website Vispero.
www.vispero.com.
I press enter.
Enter. Blank. Loading complete.
And
feedback enabled for this website using JAWS Connect. Vispero
and now you heard automatically that it was already loading complete, and you did not hear the message opening web page. I want to also have the message complete a little bit when you are loading a large web page, and I don't know why, but when I opening the website of Freedom Scientific, it will give also the message still loading, and I want to share with you that as well. And then I want to make it a sound because I don't want to have the message, but I want to make a sound for it. I press the Control N.
Control N. Opening new window.
And I open the website freedomscientific.com.
www.freedom.com.
I press enter.
Enter. Still loading.
You see, still loading. And I have absolutely no clue. Perhaps there's something wrong with the server or whatever. They are doing maintenance, but I don't know what's going on, but still loading. And I can do an alt tab.
Vispero new tab dash personal dash Microsoft. Same page link skipped. Visited link graphic Vispero. The world's leading assistive technology. Title is Vispero empowering visually impaired products dash site and meeting control JAWS 2000 JAWS post attendee sight and sound Vispero empower new tab dash personal dash micro.
But the website is still new, is empty.
F5 refreshing page alert. Bidge Microsoft Statja will privacy voorop Microsoft blank heading level 3.
Wij en onze partners
Wrapping to top.
het meest
Oh, this is the Claire what is messaging, but I still have not the message of still loading. But I will go to the notification area history, and then I will see the still loading, and then I will change that in a sound message. I will press insert spacebar,
space,
and then the letter N.
Notification history, recent notifications list box. Bidge Microsoft Statja.
The hitch.
Refreshing page edge 1530. Still loading edge 1530.
Here we have the message still loading. I will create a rule.
Enable create rule dot dot dot
press
button.
the space bar.
Space. Create rule. Received notification contains colon. Contains colon edit. Contains text.
And I press insert 8.
Still loading.
And you hear then the message still loading. I will now go to the different options.
Limit to notifications from edge checkbox checked.
And I keep it like that as well.
Speech or sound action. Speech action combo box. Mute.
Mute. No, I don't want to mute it.
Shorten. Play sound.
Play sound. And I press the tab key.
Speech or sound action path to sound file colon. Path to sound file.
Well, we can have a button also to go automatically to the provided sounds with JAWS.
Select sound dot 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 button space. Create rule. Open dialog. File name colon edit combo.
I press the shift tab key.
Explorer pane. Folder layout pane. Shell folder view. Items view list box. Header. Ascend.wav. One of two.
And here we have the different WAV files, we have supplied with JAWS.
Blat 1.
And
Blat 2.
you can
Blinds up.
find
Blinds
out
point
anything.
1, point 3. Point 4. WAV. Point 5. WAV. 11 of 209.
Just pick this one. Press enter.
Enter. Notification.
And then I have the option also to play the sound. I press the tab key.
Play sound button.
And I press the space bar.
Space.
And you hear the punk, and then you will, well, that is a nice for this example. I press the tab key.
Braille action. Braille action combo box. Show flash message.
Well, let me keep it also in the show flash message.
Don't show in history checkbox not checked.
And I want to get it also out of my list of history.
Space. Checked.
And I press the tab key.
OK button.
And I go OK. I press the space bar.
Space. Notification history.
And I go to the OK or to the close button.
Enable recent close button. Space.
Mute up min Microsoft.
There we have Claire again. I will press the insert T.
Bidge Microsoft Statja will privacy.
And I will do it again. I will press Alt D.
Alt D. Sight and sound low. W period F R B B D O F C I B C O M. Enter.
So you don't get the message. You hear the point at the dong.
Blank.
That still the message is there. The website is still loading.
Blank, 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 blank.
And I have no clue why. But
F5. Refreshing page. Blank, blank, blank. Freedom Scientific high-quality video magnifiers. Braille display. Freedom empowering software. Low vision.
So it is there still. So you can, and if I was not pressing a keystroke, you could also hear the message completed. If I go back now to the
Freedom Scientific high
to the notification history.
Space.
I press the N.
Notification history. Recent notifications list box. Loading complete edge 15 home.
And I am now at the top. I pressed home.
Refresh. Loading complete edge 15.
You heard actually. You see that there was the message from Edge loading complete. We did not even hear it, so we missed that one due to the fact that I was playing around with my arrow keys. So this message is still there. When I press arrow down,
refreshing page
there was the refreshing, what I did with F5.
Edge Microsoft
And the
Stacha
hitch.
privacy refreshing page edge still loading edge 15.
But now you see that this was the message from still loading.
Refresh, still loading edge 1536.
And that was 1536. And when I press now insert 12 for the time,
1541.
It's now 1541. So the message for the still loading and also opening page, they are eliminated out of this list.
Home.
So this is really nice. Then you can also ask yourself the question, oh my God, you know, I made a nice rule, but I'm not happy with it because I still want to hear all those messages. Then there is fortunately also a message of a manage rules button. I will go there with this with the tab key.
Enable rules check, create rule manage rules button.
Here we have it, and then you press the space bar.
Space, manage notification rules, rules list box, loading page edge mute show nothing, 1 of 2.
And you see here then the different ones that we created.
Still loading edge play sound show flash message.
And you see here the two rules we created. The first, this one is with the play sound. And then I press insert 8.
Still loading edge play sound show flash message, 2 of 2.
And then the first one.
Loading page edge mute show nothing, 1 of 2.
That is the loading page is also there. So you can then do it now out of the list, that you can press the delete key and that you can remove them. So I will do that to show that.
Manage notification rules. Confirm delete dialog. Are you sure you want to delete this rule? Yes button.
So I press space bar.
Space. Notification.
Then one is left. And if I press the tab key now.
Modify ... button.
You can also modify it. That is also very nice, that you can do it, redo it, that you can change the play sound or the WAV file, or that you want to mute it, or that you can change it, that you return in the different or in the previous dialog box, or you can do it also with another tab.
Delete button.
And here you have the delete button. And
close button.
Here you have the close button again to leave this dialog box.
Space. Notification history. Manage.
So when I press the tab key again,
close button.
You come back to the close button, and then you yeah, that's all what is all in this dialog box with the notification history. You see, it is a really effective dialog box. It is very clear. It is easy to try out. You don't harm the system in a way when you perform a rule. And what you are not happy with, or whatever, that you miss information, you can simply change it by removing a rule, or that you modify it. So it's easy to try out. You get a real better understanding of what your system is all about. So with all the messages. So when you're interested, it's really recommended to play with it. And yeah, when you want to remove messages from the list, you can set up rules, whatever you want. I want to close now this, or yeah, stop with this presentation. I don't know, Mo, in the meantime, if you want to add something, then I will stop my sharing screen.
Of course. So thank you, Jan. This was a very nice demonstration.
Vispero empowering visually impaired meeting controls.
For those of you who are interested in this, so you can create one rule per notification, and you don't have to leave all the notification text in. So what many people do as well, for example, is they will shorten emails coming in from Outlook, and instead of hearing like new notification from Outlook, Jan Bloem, and then the entire email, so that everybody sitting next to them can hear the email as well, they'll have something like email, right? So JAWS will say email, so you still know that an email came in, but they don't hear the actual email text. And in order to do that, you would remove most of the notification from the contains edit box, and you would only leave, for example, something like new notification from Outlook. And that way JAWS would know to shorten each and every notification that comes in that says new notification from Outlook. But it doesn't have to be that precise email that comes in.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting use case as well.
Yeah, for sure. Stuart, do you have other additional information what you want to add or share?
No, not at the moment, Jan. That was a really, really interesting demonstration. Really, really well explained, and I can understand how it's. I've started playing with them already. And it's a huge time saver, especially on the web. I think for a lot of the notifications that might pop up. If we have anybody who has questions either about the notification history feature or indeed about any other aspect of JAWS that Jan has touched on today, please feel free to raise your hand. And I just see we have a raised hand from Eleanor, which I'll go to in a sec. Jan, anything about Braille that you want to mention? I know there's
it is really something what that was underneath the next new feature within 2022, and I use it every time. For example, now I check it again. That is that you can see the time displayed in your status cells of
yes.
at your focus or other Braille displays. It is so welcome, this feature. For example, I will see now here in Holland we are reaching the time now 3:47. And you can also set it to seconds in a way, when you really are a radio presentator or you really want to do it something really accurate on seconds. It is so easy, this feature. So it's really, little things mean a lot, and it is sometimes accessibility is not really that a problem anymore, with screen reading, etc. But it is about usability, productivity, and also that you can let your screen reader work let it do work for you. And that is something what the people at Freedom Scientific Vispero, that's what we are known already for years, but there's still the power of JAWS,
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, and that's another great feature. So we have a question from Eleanor Tew, and I'm going to bring Eleanor in just a sec. And just to say, we're approaching 10 minutes before the hour, so we're going to wrap it up in about 10 minutes. If you have questions or something you want to ask, then please raise your hand or stick a message in the chat, and we will come to you. Eleanor, you should be able to unmute yourself, and I'm sure the guys would love to hear your question.
My question
Hi, Eleanor. Yeah.
is that all the examples you've given of notifications have been of notifications coming from an application in your current window, with the exception of Outlook. The notifications that I don't want to miss are the ones that come from the system, particularly to do with upgrades. Now, it may be that JAWS is already better at catching them than NVDA, which I use, but I have found on more than one occasion that an upgrade has come upon me unexpectedly, and I've been unable to use the computer for a while until it's finished.
Are you talking about a Windows update, Eleanor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so your question is that, I think if I'm understanding your question correctly, the update starts, but you have missed the notification to tell you that the update is starting.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Guys, is there anything there that could assist Eleanor? I mean, it strikes me that I suppose the notification should come up, but it should at least prompt you, shouldn't it, to do the update?
Yeah.
This sounds like Microsoft actually. So if it's a notification, if it's a toast notification, I've never had this problem, but if it's a toast notification, then yes, it will end up in history. But I would think that this is actually a dialog box, in which case it wouldn't end up there. But also Microsoft should not just start updating without your permission. So what I would do if I were you is I would go into your Windows settings, and probably your Windows settings have been set to accept upgrades at a certain time period, or when you're inactive, so when you're not using your computer. And you can turn those settings off. Now, I don't know off the top of my head how to turn off those settings, but it is possible to do so.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Eleanor. Brilliant. Thanks for your question, Eleanor. If there's anybody else who has questions, you can raise your hand with Alt and Y, or you can type in the chat. We just have a message in the chat from Svetlana saying, oh yeah, I think we actually acknowledged that earlier, that the new notification center is very good and she's been adding rules and she finds it improves her productivity or her efficiency when using a computer. So I think that's good to know.
Very good to know. We might want to move on to one more thing, Jan, and that is actually ARM support.
Yeah.
Oh yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we are running already. Well, it's almost the top of the hour again. But please, Mo, continue.
So the ARM processors is a different class of processors from what we've seen in PCs originally. ARM are processors that are a little bit more energy efficient and that work in a slightly different way. You can find ARM processors in most mobile phones actually, but they have now gotten so good that actually people have started to put them into PCs. Most notably, actually Apple. All new MacBooks have ARM processors, and they have improved battery life. For example, Apple claims that some MacBooks have a battery life of around 18 to 20 hours, which is spectacular. Now, Windows is not sitting still in this regard. So there are machines coming out with ARM processors that run Windows. And it has required that we re-engineer JAWS to actually work with those machines. And we have now got a public beta out of JAWS purpose-built for those ARM machines. And you can find it on the Freedom Scientific website. Jan, do you know where exactly?
In the JAWS headquarters, is that?
Right. So you go to the Freedom Scientific website, you go to the JAWS headquarters, and you'll find a test version. Note it is a test version of JAWS for ARM. And so we'd love you to try it out if you have an ARM machine, either Windows running on an ARM MacBook or just a plain Windows ARM machine. And we'd love to get your feedback. That would be really, really good, because we need to test this thing quite extensively still. It is our first run at it, the first public beta. And so we need user input for us to improve the product.
And this is quite significant then, Mohammed, isn't it? Because I suppose those processors, the ARM processors, are becoming more available.
Yes, and so Intel and AMD are really struggling to catch on, but ARM has some specific advantages that will allow a much better battery life and still very good performance. And so expect those processors to be put into more and more machines. So yeah, this is quite significant. And we want to jump on this early so that when the deluge of machines come, and I keep track of the news and they are coming, we want to be right there to support all our users who want to switch to ARM.
Okay, so great. This is a great chance for people who have access to an ARM processor already in a machine to test JAWS and give you guys some feedback.
Yes, that would be really, really good.
Okay, we look forward to hearing the progress on that. So thanks very much, Mohammed, for that. Last chance for any questions or any raised hands. If there's a question you want to put to Jan or Mohammed, or any queries you have about Vispero software, JAWS specifically, we've covered a lot about JAWS, I suppose. Jan, in terms of Zoomtext and Fusion, I suppose that those products are equally progressing well.
Yeah. And you see this notification history also in Fusion incorporated. And Zoomtext is really also moving on and but not really with spectacular new features in a way, but it is getting updated all the time to the latest specifications with the operating system and with the latest updates of Adobe and with Office 365, etc. So it's really getting up to date all the time. And also you see a real performance improvement with this version of 2022. It's really for Zoomtext and Fusion, it's really having a very significant, I must say, performance improve.
Okay, and I suppose just maybe before we going back to what we said at the start with these home use programs, it would be really good to you know, for people to think about upgrading or keeping your software up to date, your software maintenance agreement, or if you need to upgrade to the current version, now is a good time to do it, because I suppose Windows is always changing, Office changes, Teams changes. It definitely helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is really a recommendation, and it is also cheaper, you know, because you can update it without an SMA all the time, but then with an SMA you always have 50% discount in that way. So it's really the best investment ever for your when you are using JAWS and you want to keep it up to date. And what you already said, Stuart, Windows is doing the same. And you need to keep up to date, you know, you need to follow the operating system, and that is really the best thing to do.
Agreed.
Okay. Just before we go, I see a question in the chat from Graham Page for Windows 11, so we might put this one to Mohammed.
Yeah.
And he says, when in System Tray, you sometimes hear chevron notifications, which means there are some not showing. How do you read them? And he says this is important in Windows 11.
Notification chevron, you mean?
Yeah.
So these are not notifications necessarily. So this is a bit misleading. But that button, if you actually activate that button, what you'll see is you'll see an expanded taskbar with application icons in there, and you can do things in that taskbar. So for example, JAWS will be running in the system tray, and it will frequently be running behind the notification chevron button. So it does not have anything to do with notifications as they are. Notifications, when they come in, usually will be caught by JAWS unless we have specifically disabled them. For example, there is a way to disable volume change notifications in JAWS. You can turn those on and off with a keystroke. I believe it's insert space followed by the grave accent key. And then we just turn those off because they don't seem to be very useful when you turn them off. You don't want to have them in history either.
Okay.
So in that way, yes, you can see notifications not showing up, but generally when they come and JAWS does not read them out, for example, because you're doing something, they will still end up in history.
Okay, Graham, I hope that's answers the question for you. That is just about it for this edition of Webinar Wednesday. Mohammed and Jan, you guys have been absolutely brilliant. Thank you for your time, because I know you guys are really busy, especially at this time of the year. So we do really value the time you've taken, and we appreciate you coming along today to share some of the current new features within JAWS. And we look forward to seeing lots more in the not too distant future.
Yep.
So thanks a million, guys. We really appreciate it. That's it from Webinar Wednesday. Remember, we're taking a break in August and we're back in September. So have a great summer, everybody. Look after yourselves, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.